All right, Sisters fans, let's just have a fun discussion here. We don't need to be nasty in the comments like, I hate Karen and no way is Zach going back to her and this and that. This doesn't have to do with the whole is Karen pregnant. It doesn't have to do with Zach owing her money. I might bring that up, but this is just a kind of a discussion about why Zach is still in love with Karen. And I really do think about how Sistas is a show that at the core brings about the most open, honest, and realistic conversation between viewers. We can have these discussions about relationships as well as personal experiences, and that's what I feel makes Sistas kind of stand out from the rest of the other shows. I'm not saying it's the best show, but I think an argument could be made in terms of the show that gets people worked up because the discussions are relevant. Just saying. So before going further in the video, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out when I post content on the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Alright, so to be completely honest, it's like they always say, you never quite get over your first love. You might move on, but you'll still remember that person. That's not to say that time won't... What did they say? Time... I know I saw this great quote somewhere. Time heals all wounds, but sometimes you still have a scar. And I mean, there are stories of people who swore up and down that they thought they met their wife, their husband at such and such a time, high school, college, but things didn't work out and they felt like they couldn't go on, but then they found somebody else and it turned out that person was the right one for them. But I feel like with Zach, and to be completely honest, we don't know these characters' full history. Just to put that out there, we don't know their full history, but based on what we've learned from conversations between Zach and Officer Rhea, as well as Zach and other characters in regards to Karen, I could be wrong, but really I'm basing this off of what we do know so far in the series, and that's the fact that Zach got into some trouble with the law. He got locked up. When he came out, Karen was the person, or kind of like the first person to really hold him down, basically provide for him. And thinking back to when he was younger, when he and Rhea had sex, he seemed to be running with the wrong crowd, pretty much, I guess you could say going out sleeping with, any woman that had two legs and a thing between, well, you know what I mean. So I feel like Zach really never experienced love. He more so just hooked up with people just to do it. Those girls back in the day were just, girls he hit it and quit it. Karen, on the other hand, was probably the first woman that he really felt a strong connection to. And as a guy, I can't really relate to this, but more so I'm talking to the female viewers here. As a guy and looking at girls I've liked where they've chosen the thug, the guy at school who would, didn't give a damn about education. He would always get in trouble, suspended, but yet those were the guys who always got the girls, pretty much the thugs, if you will. And, even as an adult, you have women who, kind of like Fatima, they'll go for the quote-unquote fixer-uppers. It's kind of ironic that she's part of the Chain Breakers organization, which is about like renovating apartments and houses and whatnot, and she doesn't see a problem with going out with someone because just like a rickety old house, there's sometimes potential that takes a little bit of elbow grease and investment, and then it turns out to be a diamond in the rough. So I feel like with Karen and Zach, the reason that Zach does love her, slightly to what Danny was saying in the last episode about Zach having a habit of depending on a woman to take care of him, he probably didn't have a strong parental unit when he was growing up. So maybe this was mentioned before, but I honestly forgot. I don't know if anything has ever been made in reference to Zach's parents. I know that his grandfather's belongings Karen left out on the street in a box, and thankfully Danny, you know, got the stuff before it went into, like, you know, the dump or something along those lines. So I feel like maybe Zach's mother or grandmother or aunt, somebody took care of him. So sometimes, you know, when you're in that nurturing stage of your life, I feel like that stage isn't just for toddlers. I mean, depending, you're kind of, you know, sometimes a result of your surroundings, how you grew up. So I feel like maybe with Karen being the first person to, hey, this dude has a criminal record, he isn't, you know, the most dependable guy in regards to getting a solid job because of his record, but at the same time, I want to take care of him, feed him, clothe him, that kind of stuff. So I feel like Zach, while he felt love for Karen, at the same time, he took advantage of their arrangement. Where at first, you know, I think it was said back in season 1 that the only time Zach paid rent was when he and Karen went half and half on their apartment. After that, Karen paid all the bills, all the food, rent, everything. Zach did nothing. Sure, he got the job at the airport, but none of his money ever went back into what him and Karen were building. Now, you can make the argument that Karen was the one who was kind of like Fatima in terms of trying to build Zach up. But at the same time, I feel like, what was that song? When a woman's fed up. Na 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 na. Karen just got fed up with Zach's behavior, and instead of building Zach up, she was verbally and emotionally and mentally tearing him down. So I feel like people just need to remember, go back to season 1. It's on BET Plus. Zach was trash. I remember when people couldn't stand Zach. I think the only like redeeming thing about Zach back in season 1 was when people were kind of shipping him and Danny. But Zach was not a good boyfriend. He cheated. The first scene we had of Karen in episode 1, she was getting tested to see if she had an STD that Zach could have given her by, you know, cheating on her with another woman. Not only that, you know, whenever it seemed like she was kind of moving forward with Aaron, Zach would just ride up to her apartment on his bicycle. Kind of the same way people are like, man, this is every time that, you know, Zach seems to be moving forward with Fatima, Karen always shows up, whether it's, you know, getting Zach arrested or calling him over to the salon or this or that. Zach did the same shit back in season 1. How soon people forget. But I do think because of the fact that Zach was apparently, you know, good in bed, that was pretty much the only reason Karen kept him around. Let's be real here. There are a lot of people who are only together because, you know, one, their partner is really good in bed, and it's almost like, you know, wow, I'm in the school. I have a group, well, you know, a partner assignment in school with like the most popular guy, the most popular girl in school, and I'm doing all the work, but I get to spend time with them, and we get to talk, and, you know, we get one-on-one time. Damn, I sound like the Bachelor or Bachelorette. Oh, a one-on-one date with the Bachelorette. But basically, Zach, I guess you could say, was the jock, if you will, and Karen was the studious person in school who would do all the work while Zach just kind of flew by on the seat of his pants. So I feel like overall, because Karen rightfully broke things off with Zach, you know, basically, you know, some people equate that to, you know, throwing him to the side, throwing him away. And then somebody else taking what was thrown on the ground and making Zach into the man Karen wanted. Now people are like, oh, I see what's going on. Karen is like, yeah, you didn't see Zach for what he was worth like Fatima does, and all you did was tear him down and everything. Look at how Zach was always cautious when he first interacted with Fatima, from going over to her place to spending the night, getting a room. He was hesitant. You know, go back to their earlier scenes, and I really liked it because noticed how when Zach first met that woman who is it Tony? I think that's the name. I looked it up. The woman who's trying to give him that stock information. Look how hesitant he was, you know, in the hotel room with her, from looking around to, you know, hey, I'm not going to drink anything, or I'm not going to do this or that. That's how he was when he first went over to Fatima's, because of the fact that he didn't want to go through deja vu with you know, look, everything you're doing for me, Karen was doing the same thing, and I don't want to go through that again. So basically, I feel like we're only seeing the Karen from season 1 to the present. I honestly feel that when Zach and Karen first got together, Karen definitely had those Fatima qualities we see now. It's just that we're seeing a Karen who's just done with Zach's shit. But at the end of the day, you know, between conversations of her, Sabrina, Andy, Danny, it's always like, your heart's still with Zach, and Zach, your heart's still with Karen. So even though you are toxic, you're going to get back together. I mean, it got into the point where like the girls would have bets on how long it would take for Zach and Karen to hook up again. You know, oh man, I thought they would go at least 5 days without sex, or, you know, a week without getting back together, that kind of thing. I feel like that's why Zach is still in love with Karen, because of the fact that even though he was a trash boyfriend, she still held him down, and they had a lot of, they saw each other at their best, and they saw each other at their worst. And plus, even though it was a lot of on again, off again, periods of their relationship, I do believe I don't really know the exact length of their relationship, but it seems like it was at least for a couple years. Again, I could be wrong, maybe they did state it, but 2019 is when this damn show came out, and believe it or not, we're kind of closing in on the 2-year anniversary, and this show has a lot of episodes so far. So I feel that it makes sense how a long-term relationship will still have you in love with somebody even though you're ready to move on. I feel like Karen has just gotten, I don't feel like it's just because Karen sees that Zach is with somebody else. I feel like it's because they're so used to their routine. That two-step they always do, oh, we break up to make up, that's all we do. And, you know, there are a lot of people who are rightfully calling out, well, you know, Karen said that she was moving on with Aaron and this and that, so why is she mad at Zach moving on with Fatima? It's because she's so used to, well, Pavlov's dog, or Pavlov's, yeah, that's the thing I learned in science. You know, what's it called? Conditioning. Basically, when somebody does something so much, it's like a routine for them. It's kind of like, you know, what's expected. And I feel like because in Karen's mind, Zach isn't playing the role that he's rightfully supposed to play. That's why she's trying to figure things out. It's like, that's why she's all, you know, discombobulated. So in my mind, I'm thinking that there have been times where she's hooked up with other guys. Remember, there was that one episode between her and Andy. I think it was called Old Faithful back in season 1, where they both kind of have, like, you know, an F-boy. Somebody who, if their main man isn't acting right, they'll call on Tyrone, and he'll stop on by, give them what they need, and then, you know, they'll leave. So I feel like the thing about it is, Karen being upset and hurt that Zach didn't talk to Fatima about his ex by name. You look at how Karen talks to Aaron about Zach. In her sleep, she calls out Zach. When she's upset, Aaron listens and all she does is talk about Zach. So I feel like Aaron is the old faithful to Karen, and she's probably feeling like Fatima is that for Zach. And it's like, oh yeah, all he's going to do is rant about me, and yeah, he might hook up with Fatima, but at the end of the day, we're going to get back together like we always do. But Zach isn't playing that role. And as a result, I feel like that's why she's all mad. Not to mention, he's acting like the Zach that she's always wanted. I feel like Karen is seeing the Zach in the present the way she saw him when they first met up. It's like, you know what, this guy has a record, he's having a rough time, but I feel like if I really put in some elbow grease, that Zach is going to become Zach back then is going to become the Zach that I'm seeing now in the present. Double jobs, making decent money, paying me back, that kind of stuff. So I feel like Karen feels like, oh no, I put too much time, effort, and money into this investment, and I'll be damned if somebody else is going to profit from the fortune, kind of like on Acrimony. Hopefully it doesn't go that dark, but then again, Sistas has had its scorned lovers like Jasmine and Fawn, so you never know. So I feel like that's why Zach still loves Karen. They had a very lengthy relationship that did have a lot of on again, off again periods, but at the end of the day, yes, you can meet somebody phenomenal, but I don't think it's uncommon to still be in love with your ex, especially when it's so recent. But at the same time, you shouldn't allow those feelings for your ex to ruin a potentially new relationship with somebody, but you know, not to sound rude, but even better than your previous one. So I feel like at the same time, it is too soon for Zach and Fatima to define anything between them. Not to mention, I still don't approve of Zach having sex with Karen in the salon. But at the same time, I don't fault him fully because of the fact that him and Fatima really weren't together. However, she was putting you up in her apartment. You've had sex a couple of times already. You would think there would be some sort of like, yeah, maybe it's not a good idea for me to hook up with my ex, considering I'm seeing someone new, even though it's not official. So I feel like, you know, it's kind of like as a kid when your parents give you a specific rule. Believe it or not, I was looking at Leave It to Beaver the other day with my mom, and there was an episode where the parents told, you know, Beaver and his brother, hey, you're going to the movies, but don't take your younger brother Beaver to go see this scary movie. And then when they got to the theater, the friend that they were with is like, hey, give the money to Beaver. That way, technically, he's taking you to see the scary movie and you're not taking him. You know what I mean? So basically, it's like, even though your parents don't go over every specific twist and turn of a, you know, certain rule, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to twist it to your own, I guess you could say, benefit. Like, oh yeah, I get it. Just because I'm not supposed to steal $100 from the bank doesn't mean I can't steal 50. You see what I'm going with that? So hopefully Zach and Fatima can get it together. But I just wanted to make this video to say I can understand why Zach is still in love with Karen. And I feel like I speak for a lot of people when I've been saying this for months. Zach should really focus on getting his own place, saving up his money, and not fully depending on, you know, relying on a woman to take care of him, because of the fact that he is known to be a screw up. Not to mention, people change. You know, like 1 minute Fatima could be feeling you, the next day she could be moving on to somebody else, and next thing you know, you have nowhere to go. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that being said, feel free to donate to the channel on PayPal or Cash App. And with that being said, I'll talk to you all in the next video.